Oh, my friend, you picked the right channel today. President Donald J. Trump just pulled off one of the most monumental global negotiations in American history. And the mainstream media is doing everything they can to bury it. Do you know what happened behind the war horses? Most people don't. Biden gets the governor of Mecca, Trump gets a royal lavender carpet, Arabian horse escorts, and a $600 billion handshake from Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. From AI investment to energy infrastructure, peace talks with Iran and Syria, and the death blow to the neocon agenda. This is the deal of the century. I'm going to break down what actually happened that nobody's covering. Of course they wouldn't. Too controversial, I guess. Too impactful, I guess. But I ask you this. Tell me again, you leftist lunatics. Tell me again why you don't take this man seriously. He just did something your side could never do. That's what respect looks like. This is what peace looks like. And this is what power looks like. And I'm sorry if that offends you. When I give you the details, you might as well just go to another broadcast, because you're not going to want to hear what success sounds like, because it's something you've never achieved. All you did over the last 4 years is destroy us, and this man just brought us back to greatness. That's the story I'm going to bring you here in just 1 minute. Oh yeah, don't worry, I'll be right back on my soapbox in a second. Monster development with Trump. But first, let's go to some domestic news. A follow-up to our broadcast over the last 2 days. You recognize this scene right now. Congressman under fire after she pushed and shoved an ICE agent. Mayor arrested, and the meltdown is immediate. Not as good as Trump's meltdown, mind you. A positive meltdown, one that was well-deserved on the neocons. What does Kristi Noem have to say about what was happening?
I tell you what, Jesse, what happened last Friday was we had members of Congress assaulting law enforcement officers. They were cooperating with criminals to create criminal acts, and then they're saying that they were providing oversight. This wasn't oversight. This was committing felonies.
Perfect. Ice Barbie hits it again. They weren't doing oversight. They were committing felonies. Oh, they don't like that so much, do they? AOC doesn't like that so much, but does she ever like it? Of course not. All they want is disruption and non-progress. Because who does that benefit? The neocons that Trump is now pointing out. Not you and me, we the people who voted for the mandate for change. Listen in here for a moment. If you can take it, sit back, I know, grab a barf bag, because here comes AOC.
Situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem. Because the people who are breaking the law are the people who are not abiding by it. And it is enshrined.
No, the people breaking the law are the one in the detention center. Sorry, I know it's a very difficult concept, so we'll just talk real slow for you. If you want to grab your crayons and a piece of paper real quick, you could write notes, AOC. But you go on, because that wasn't enough threats for you, was it? Nah, you got more for Holman and Kristi Noem.
In the law, that members of Congress who show up to ICE and CBP facilities are required to be granted access, legally required to be granted access, and they legally cannot be inhibited.
That they, again, if you can grab the pink crayon for me now, they were granted access, they were brought into the facility, and they found no violations. But, of course, that doesn't suit your rant on your little phone. That's why I gave you a little screen, because that's all you deserve. But please, proceed.
But it sure as hell is not someone like Representative Robert Menendez that needs to be arrested, okay? We need to be talking about ICE agent, the ICE agents and the cowardly policy of covering their faces. Covering their faces.
Because again, this is so painful. Because some of them are undercover agents who are also doing ICE raids, and if people know who they are as they walk up to the raid, then they would be identified and the raid would be a failure and their lives would be put on the line. But you just don't care about that. Maybe I'm talking too fast. It is AOC after all, but she goes on.
To attack free speech, to attack the powers of Congress, to erode our ability to investigate and conduct oversight, that is what is un-American. And this administration and Kristi Noem spits on the American flag every time she does that nonsense. So I don't want to hear anything about America first. These people and this administration is putting America last.
Correction again. Actually, you and your party and your Justice Democrats put America last by doing nothing for us. Even your own constituents say you're never there because you're too busy jet-setting around. But I digress. For a moment. Who's on the screen right now? Go ahead. Hope you know. It's U.S. Attorney Hava. My office is undertaking a thorough investigation in coordination with our federal agent. I read this to you yesterday, right? All about that disturbance that happened outside the Delaney Hall. The mayor of Newark arrested, committed trespass, and ignored multiple warnings. No one is above the law. Well, the judge took exception with this. Before Newark Mayor Ras Baraka was released from custody on Friday, she was cautioned them to heed carefully to the rules of professional conduct and boundaries of proprietary for public comment related to an ongoing investigation and or prosecution. But what he did is fine. Against the law, mind you. He's not a congressman or congresswoman. But because Alina Habba stated that he willingly chose to disregard the law, she's chastised. Not the illegals. Now, they're always the ones defended, aren't they? But don't worry, because you can't go without dollar store Obama. He got to come in right away. He's got to act tough. Somebody's got to push his robot button on real quick, and well, you'll hear in a minute, because if this just sent shivers up my spine. I'm being sarcastic, of course.
What would your statement the other day after there was this incident in Newark, you said they better not touch our members.
Correct.
What happens if they were to go and arrest these members, or if they would try to sanction them here in the House of Representatives?
They'll find out.
What would you do?
They'll find out.
What recourse? But doesn't that broach a...
They'll find out.
Doesn't that go across...
That's a red line.
What's the red line, though? I know we have this...
It's a red line. It's very clear. First of all, I think that the so-called Homeland Security spokesperson is a joke.
They'll find out. They'll find out. I'm trying to be threatening here. I'm trying to be tough. Find out what? That they're enforcing the Constitution, the rule of law, and the mandate for change that we provided. And yet you just go crazy over that, don't you? That's your retaliation threat, which the administration won't listen to, because the administration's actually doing real work here. Work that makes a difference. Work that changes things. And work that they just won. A major legal battle, of course. Mainstream media won't cover that either, will they? Trent d'Argua and these arrests and the Alien Enemies Act. The federal judge once said Trump misapplied wartime law for Venezuelan deportations. However, it appears he now got a major win. Donald Trump scores major legal win over mass deportations. What did and what happened? A federal judge in Pennsylvania ruled on Tuesday that President Donald Trump can use the Alien Enemies Act to expedite the removal of suspected gang members in a boost for the administration mass deportation plan, a victory that no one's talking about. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's right, Donald. The tide is turning in your favor, although small. A victory in this ruling for you, coming out of Pennsylvania again, became the first to back President Trump's invocation of the Alien Enemies Act, saying Trump's description of Trent d'Argua's incursion into the United States satisfies the definition of the Alien Enemies Act. And if that doesn't put a smile on your face, I don't know what will. So no matter what these congressmen are stating and threatening and harassing and pushing and shoving simply to cause a scene, sorry, not sorry. You just lost a big one in this ruling. One of many more to come, because now precedence has been set, but not all judges are in such good shape. You remember this Wisconsin this Milwaukee judge Dugan we covered, the one arrested. How dare you show a picture of her in handcuffs? Well, it appears now it's moving forward. Federal grand jury indicts Milwaukee County Judge Dugan. And what did they indict her of? The two-page indictment accuses Dugan, 66 years old, of obstructing a U.S. agency and concealing an individual to prevent an arrest. The two charges, and by the way, that's a felony. One is a misdemeanor. The two charges carry a maximum penalty of 6 years in prison and a $350,000 fine. But sentences in cases involving nonviolent offenses typically are much shorter. Dugan is expected to enter a plea at a May 15th hearing, and we will be here to cover it for you, but it is progressing forward. But a lot is progressing forward. Tulsi Gabbard has now identified two more of what even Fox News is calling deep state officials. Listen in here for 1 minute.
Deep state criminals, and she puts them on notice, referring to two alleged leakers of classified info of the DOJ for prosecution. So two and more are coming.
Uh-oh. More referrals. I know we want more than referrals. I get it. It's taking a little while, but they're weeding through the system. They're finding out who the leakers are, and they are everywhere. It is a virus in Washington, D.C., and it takes a little while to identify, but Tulsi Gabbard has not laid off the throttle whatsoever. And this is all before the major headline story, which you would think centers around simply the Saudi Arabia trip, and it does in some ways, and the success of the $600 billion deal, but somebody was put on notice. Trump melts down over one group in particular, the EU. Wait now, I thought public enemy number one was China, and I assure you it still is. But there's an enemy that has risen behind China, far as an equal threat, as defined by Trump himself in a surprise statement he made within the Saudi Arabia meetings and press conferences and talking points. EU is nastier than China. Now, why did he state that, and what success came out of this? The mainstream media wouldn't dare cover what happened behind the war horses and lavender carpets. Something that has changed history forever. One of the most powerful deals ever made by a U.S. president. And the mainstream media is doing everything they can to simply bury it. I will not allow for that, and we'll continue here in just a minute. But before we get started, I need a favor from you. Lisa and I are thinking about upgrading the studio a bit. Maybe adding some screens behind us, but definitely getting another camera so you get a better angle of what happens in this war room of ours. If you believe in what we're doing and you want to see those upgrades happen, I need your support. You could do that multiple ways, simply by subscribing, because I know not everybody has the means to do some other things, and that's perfectly fine. You sharing the video and commenting means the world to me. I always put up a pinned comment, unless sometimes I forget because I get onto another news broadcast. Or you could join as a member here. You'll see the button right below. It's an amazing way to support me, keep these lights and cameras on, and hopefully add a new camera and some stuff behind us. Or the super thanks. That is the greatest way throughout the day when I see that pop up. It just really tells me I was on the right track on the video. And those of you who've taken that additional step of going to our home for news, the one we created, the one we own, the one we run, restrictedrepublic.com, and one you see on your screen right here, every video we do, including the daily exclusive content, no commercials, no interruptions, because that is audience-funded news only. We're beholden to no one. President Trump is beholden to no one, and he showed us in this amazing action we're about to get to. So I love you. Again, membership, super thanks, or Restricted Republic. Heck, if you want to do all three, that only accelerates the growth of this channel, which has been incredible lately because you want your news black and white like I provided. Look forward to your comments today. Look forward to your support. But now let's kick back into this broadcast. Okay, so let's start here. EU nastier than China. Let's go to the statement. The U.S. President Donald J. Trump told reporters the European Union is in many ways nastier than China. Okay, we just started with them. Ooh, they deserve that so much. We have all the cars. They treated us very unfairly. They sell us 13 million cars. We sell them none. They sell us their agricultural products. We sell them virtually none. They don't take our products. They give us all the cards, and it's very unfair. So guess who his focus is about to change, because this meeting in Saudi Arabia just reinforced many things. It was a threat to Iran. It was a change in Syria. It was an adjustment in the Middle East. It was funding into the U.S., $600 billion deal, and a big two middle fingers in the air to one group in particular, which is the EU. You know, those little guys like Merz and Macron, many others I can't stand. Orban's part of that group also. Sorry, one of the commission leaders. But this is the group of the EU. To be more specific, this group is so bonded together, they have started to act as one of the most powerful self-appointed forces that this world's ever seen. And they're disrupting everything. If it wasn't for them, I guarantee you, Ukraine and Russia would have already been solved. But you see, these neocons want something else. They want disruption. They want power. They want their world order. Well, Trump just came over the top of them, because now we have the Trump world order. But these are countries I like to focus on, because if these folks were so bonded together, so big and bad, we'll just focus on France, Poland, Hungary, and Romania for one moment, shall we? Romania, who canceled the presidential election because this is the power the EU wields. And why? Because somebody was leading they didn't like. According to final results, Simeon secured a sweeping victory, but it was canceled. Marine Le Pen comes out, throws support, because in Romania, the presidential election was simply canceled with the blessing of the European Commission. You see how they operate? And what did they do before that? Well, they went after Marine Le Pen. Barred from French presidential run. Of course she was, because she doesn't represent what the EU wants. A consolidated authority to rule over everyone. Disrupt international politics and go for never-ending war. And if this was so put together, so well orchestrated, then this wouldn't be happening in Poland. I'm just going to silence it, because there's the EU flag. Just watch what this Polish politician does. This is what's happening. The EU's breaking. They want leaders like Trump, but the EU does everything they can to assure that never happens. So he takes the EU flag and he states, this is Poland. This isn't Brussels. And he throws it on the ground, cleans his shoes with it, and then later in the clip, he does something, well, that a lot of people have been waiting to see. That's right. He lights the EU flag on fire. And that's what's happening in the EU. And after what Trump just stated about him, and it gets far worse in a statement I'm about to play, the EU has now been put on notice, because they have turmoil within, and now they have major turmoil called President Donald J. Trump. These clips are hidden from you. They want you to think the EU is as powerful as ever. It is fragmenting. Orban coming out. Ukraine's EU accession, economic suicide for Europe. If you let Ukraine into the EU, you are committing economic suicide, economic war. And who would that war be led by? President Donald J. Trump. Just listen in here for 1 minute as we now circle back into one of the most politically important negotiations that has occurred in this country's history.
As you know, we have the biggest business leaders in the world here today. They're going to walk away with a lot of checks for a lot of things that you're going to provide. And in the United States, it's probably 2 million jobs that we're talking about this visit. So, number one, I like visiting with you, and we've known each other very well, and I really believe we like each other a lot. And number two, for the United States, we've brought tremendous investment in and tremendous jobs, and we'll continue to service your great country very well.
You know, just 2 million jobs, $600 billion. A friendship that's been there for a long time, a friendship people worry about. But if you want stability in the Middle East and you don't have Saudi Arabia on your side, you got a major problem. And these signatures that you're seeing, the progression here, mean more than anyone can imagine. But it was just one step in this meeting. There was multiple steps. Did you hear what Trump did with Syria? As they finished signing this paperwork, I'm going to play it for you. And why is he doing this? Why did he lift sanctions on Syria? Well, this is strategic. He has a major problem. He has Iran to contend with. And he literally just boxed them in.
And also with President Erdogan of Turkey, who called me the other day and asked for a very similar thing, among others, and friends of mine, people that I have a lot of respect for in the Middle East. I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
And that is all you need to see. Not Elon Musk behind them, not Sam Altman being there. No, it's that man with the most genuine smile on his face, knowing that the man at the podium is leading through power, is setting a course for peace in the Middle East. And he doesn't even let, because he wants more out of them. 600 billion wasn't enough. No, he asked for something else. In addition, the Syrian negotiation was just another icing on the cake.
And with the historic Abraham Accords that we're so proud of, all the momentum was aimed at peace, and it aimed very successfully. It's been an amazing thing, the Abraham Accords, and it's my fervent hope, wish, and even my dream that Saudi Arabia, a place I have such respect for, especially over the last fairly short period of time, what you've been able to do, but we'll soon be joining the Abraham Accords. I think it'll be a tremendous tribute to your country, and it will be something that's really going to be very important for the future of the Middle East. I took a risk in doing them, and they've been an absolute bonanza for the countries that have joined. The Biden administration did nothing for 4 years. We would have had it filled out. But it will be a special day in the Middle East with the whole world watching when Saudi Arabia joins us. And you'll be greatly honoring me, and you'll be greatly honoring all of those people that have fought so hard for the Middle East.
You will be honoring me. Key words in that statement as he looks at the prince. You will be honoring me. You'll do it in your own time. Imagine Syria, the United States, Saudi Arabia, Israel, all a portion of the Abraham Accords. Who would be able to disrupt peace then? The power of this meeting I cannot overstate. Trump inviting the Saudis to join the Abraham Accords in your own time. But you'll be honoring me. And he gave him a good defense bill too, didn't he? Oh, he sweetened the pot. Why do you think everyone's all smiles on this? The only people who aren't all smiles on this is the mainstream media, because they don't like scenes like this playing out. I'll go into a different graphic for you here, so you really get a good presentation of what's happening. Why don't they like this? Because this spells peace. Lavender carpets, Arabian horses, fighter jets escort that presidential plane in. Elon Musk, BlackRock, NVIDIA, OpenAI, all present, because this was the most monumental and instrumental meeting that has ever occurred. This MSM silent, not a peep from CNN or MSNBC. Why? Because this proves Trump can lead, negotiate, and dominate foreign policy. Biden mumbled about ice cream. Trump just brought back American dominance with receipts. This wasn't just a handshake in the desert. This was the end of America last diplomacy and the beginning of a new world order, Trump style. So what happened behind those war horses? The most monumental moment in international peace negotiations that have ever occurred. I can't overstate this enough for you. But what is, the mainstream media did cover it here. I'm sorry. I digress. They covered the fact that Donald Trump didn't drink the local coffee offered to him. He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to capitulate with anyone. He doesn't need to kowtow to anyone. He's not going to do something simply to be viewed as being polite. No, he does it through power. He does it through action. And who did he box in? In the case of Iran, I've never believed in having permanent enemies. I am different than a lot of people. I don't like permanent enemies. Sometimes you need enemies to do the job, and you have to do it right. Enemies get you motivated. Oh, that is such a true statement. He continued, I want to make a deal. What were the most powerful things you did? You did it for a friend sometimes, or did you do it to assure your enemy couldn't prosper? That's what Trump's talking about here. I want to make a deal with Iran. I can make a deal with Iran. I'll be very happy if we're going to make your region and the world a safer place. He offered a much brighter future if Tehran will do a deal. If Iran's leadership rejects this olive branch and continues to attack their neighbors, then we will have no choice but to inflict massive, maximum pressure and take all action required to stop the regime from ever having a nuclear weapon. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Iran, if you're listening, with what he just signed in Saudi Arabia, with what he just requested with the Abraham Accords, what he just received for we the people, $600 billion, you better be frickin' listening now, because the gig is up, because he just flanked you. And if you're going to run to the neocons for help, here's what he had to say about that.
Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that.
That's the sound of support. Iran, did you hear it? I'm sure it's echoing in your bedchamber right now. He flanked you. He effed you. And you deserve every moment of it. But I know you'll go to the neocons for help, won't you? Don't worry. He took care of that too.
And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries.
Ouch. Oh, that statement wasn't lost on me, and it shouldn't be lost on you. The gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by so-called nation builders, not created by neocons, not created by the EU, who spent trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul and Baghdad, or Kabul, sorry. The birth of a modern Middle East that will reject Iran, that will support President Trump against such war, or stand down and stand out of the way. This was one of the most well-orchestrated and powerful trips I have ever seen. And the mainstream media is silent on it. I need you to blow this video up. I need you to share it because people don't understand what this man just did. Now they're going to boil it down to a fact sheet, which he has to do, about a historic $600 billion investment commitment in Saudi Arabia. moving forward with plans to invest $20 billion in AI data centers. Google, Datavote, Oracle, Salesforce, AMD, Uber committed to invest $80 billion in cutting-edge transformative technologies in both countries. Iconic American companies like Hill International, Jacobs, Parsum, AECOM are building key infrastructure projects like King Solomon International Airport, King Solomon Park, the Vault, totaling more than $2 billion in U.S. service exports. Additional major exports, GE Vernovas, sorry, I'm having trouble speaking today, gas turbines and energy solutions totaling $14.2 billion, and Boeing 737 8 passenger aircraft for AV lease totaling $4.8 billion. These were just the minuscule portions of that agreement. Nearly $142 billion providing, and this is the key, Saudi Arabia with state-of-the-art war-fighting equipment and services from over a dozen U.S. defense firms. What did he do? He blockaded the terrorist side of the Middle East with the support of Saudi Arabia. And if he gets him in the Abraham Accords, it unites the U.S. and Israel and Saudi Arabia, and he dropped a major olive branch to Syria. What does this all mean? Peace through strength. Enemies get you motivated, he stated. Syrian sanctions lift. Abraham Accords 2.0. Ends everything. Changes everything. Trump, in one single trip, just changed his war footing and redirected it. It's always been in Iran, but now he's going against the support structure and those working against American interests. My friends, this was truly making America great again. Peace through strength. Everything he committed to us, he just showed you a textbook example of how it's done. Biden, you taking notes? Or is somebody taking them for you? Because the likes of you and AOC and Dollar Store Obama, all you want to do is create little internal strife to avoid true progress, which this president, President Donald J. Trump, just exemplified. That is what really happened in Saudi Arabia that no one is going to report to you. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.